was, I'll
Doesn't it
say,
look like
a
pitch
little
black?
challenging just with a new
Yeah.
format. You know,
Yeah.
it's always, anytime you change something like that, it's, there's some things that come in sideways, you know. always.
Especially if they've done it before, because everyone's like, well, we used to do it this
Yeah,
way, we
yeah.
used to do, I'm like, I understand, but it's-
What's that?
Krampus, was he y'all's?
are you ready?
The guy with the guitar, Krampus with the horns, he looked like a devil.
Oh, I don't.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening for our Parks, Culture and Recreation Board meeting. It is Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, 5:30 PM. I'd like to call our meeting to order. We'll do roll call first, and we'll start online with whoever wants to unmute themselves first. Marcus,
Hi, Bill Fosbury, Commissioner.
thank you. Sue, is
Sue Faylash, Recreation Manager.
there anyone else online, Carter? No? Okay, Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jenny Wilson, Senior Parks Planner.
Hi, Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture and Recreation.
Wendy Goodwin, Chair, Commissioner.
Lori Davies, Commissioner.
Gary Larson, Commissioner.
Tamara Good, Commissioner, Vice Chair.
Aaron Wheeler, Commissioner.
First, we have Carter Gibson, Executive Assistant.
Thank you. All right, and now we will do our land acknowledgement, and it will be read by Commissioner Wheeler.
The Parks, Culture, and Recreation Board meets on the ancestral lands of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian Tribe and Squaxin Island Tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend that the community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854.
Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. And then we will move on to our approval of our agenda minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Davies. All those, is there any discussion about the agenda? None? All right, all those in favor of the agenda being approved as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are approving the agenda as written. Next, we will do approval of our November 6, 2024 minutes. Do I have a motion? To approve the November 6, 2024 minutes?
I move to approve minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Davies. Do I have a second?
I shall second.
Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. All those in favor of the approval of the November 6, 2024 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries for our November 6, 2024 minutes approval. We have no public comment this evening. Correspondence was sent with it to us, so hopefully everyone's read that. Then our business items that we're moving on to will be our 2024 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board accomplishments, and they will be given by Jenny Wilson, our Senior Parks Planner.
Thank you. So I have up here on our screen the 2024 accomplishments. And I won't go through them all, but they were included in your packet. But obviously, completion of the rec parking lot was a highlight of the year's accomplishments for construction projects, along with significant work and education towards the off-leash dog issues that we've been dealing with, and wildlife information on signage at parks. And of course, design work is almost complete at Greg Cuyo Park, so that is another huge accomplishment for the year. One additional accomplishment that needs to be added is Huntermer Park concept design completed, which is something that I'm going to cover in my Parks Planner report. So that's one addition that we need to add to this, but we have all of our work plan accomplishments and then just other noteworthy accomplishments. And these, of course, we have a joint meeting with City Council on January 28th, and these are what we'll be presenting to them also. So let me know if there's anything on there that we need to add or that I've forgotten. Seems
Are we gonna put the QR code stuff, or are we waiting till that's actually completed for the Stream Team partnership?
They are, the QR codes with Stream Team are on the signs.
Okay, so is that part of our, is that in here?
Yeah, I think that is,
I could have missed it. I read through it, but I didn't know.
I think I just,
Oh, partnership, okay.
yeah, I think
Okay.
I just
There is
grouped
a
it into
partner.
that one.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that is, this is one that we do need action on. in order to city council.
Prepare a motion to approve the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board accomplishments.
I move because I'm feeling very accomplished.
And
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Good. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about our accomplishments? Anyone add, subtract? Hearing none. All those in favor of the 2024 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board accomplishments being approved, say aye.
I'm sorry, was that as amended?
Oh, as amended. Oh,
As
because
amended.
as
sorry.
amended.
As amended.
Thank you. So
Motion as amended, second as amended.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the amended 2024 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board accomplishments, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
I got distracted and was pulling up the other document. Sorry.
All those opposed? Hearing none, we have an approval for the Lacey Parks 2024 board accomplishments. Thank you, Jenny, for doing all of that and all of everyone's hard work. Much appreciated. All right, and then we'll move on to our 2025 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board proposed meeting calendar given by Jenny Wilson.
So every year we put together all the meeting dates for the next year. So this meeting list of calendar dates for Parks Board is very similar to 2024. One change is that we won't have a regular meeting in January because that falls on January 1st. But we will have a meeting in February. Last year, we did not have a meeting in February, but we had one in January. So it's still a total of 10 meetings that we had in 2024 that we'll have this year too. We're not gonna have regular meetings in April, July, or September because those all fall right around holiday breaks. We're going to plan to have a tour on September 12th, which that was our plan for that around that time this year, but as you recall, it got pushed to October so that we could sync it up with the Parks Improvement Funding Work Group, which I think worked out really well, but I don't think that's gonna be.
Do we do a parks tour every year or? Oh, okay.
And what parks will be on this tour?
To be determined. But I mean, it's up to you guys, what
Can we
parks you.
select?
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Ooh,
Okay.
all right.
Hopefully by then, maybe we can do a construction tour at Cuyo.
That'd be cool.
And then I just highlighted the ones that we're not gonna be meeting, just 'cause that seems to be. So,
And those are just like spring break, July 4th.
yeah, those, I mean, this is the week of spring break for
Labor
the
Day.
school district. This is New Year's Day. It's right around the 4th of July, and so Labor Day week, those just don't seem to work real well for
Yeah,
for
that's fine.
folks.
And we have the 3rd of July.
Yep, yep, we have the 3rd of July event, so. You wanna meet July 2nd, or any
Yeah.
of those days, we certainly can. It's-
I'm good. I liked the.
I'm good with that too.
I like the lineup.
I just was curious about April.
Yep, school district.
See, I
spring
don't
break,
follow
which-
that anymore. I have no kids in school.
Yeah, we can meet in April if you guys.
Jerem's birthday week, we can't meet.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So, again, this is another actionable item that.
Okay, so do I have a motion for the approval of the 2025 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board proposed meeting calendar? All right, Commissioner Larson.
Put them in my phone.
Okay. You're the one. You're the one. We're gonna come. Do I have a second? Commissioner
Second.
Wheeler, thank you. Is there any further discussion for the 2025 calendar? Commissioner Fosbury, are you okay with the calendar? All right, thumbs up. Okay, so all those in favor of the 2025 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board proposed meeting calendar, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we have the approval of our 2025 Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board proposed meeting calendar. And I hold everyone accountable for being, I'm just kidding. I do. Thank you, everybody. And then we're moving on to our 2025 proposed Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation budget given by Sue Faylash. And
Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much for having me today. Thought I would do something a little different instead of just, you guys got handed the brief paperwork, but I thought I would go through and do a slideshow and kind of explain a little bit more about the budget, just so everybody can have a good understanding. Going yet, you guys went too far.
Right.
Back up to the beginning.
We're not sure what happened,
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
There we go.
We can move on to the next one now.
Oh,
One more. The whole proposed budget was $4,983,100. Out of that, for the general recreation was $3,565,278 million. The RAC for the general, I didn't include the RAC maintenance because that's out of Public Works, but our portion of the RAC budget was $293,102. And the community buildings fund is $1,124,720, and that comprises of a number of things, and we'll hit on those a little bit in some slides a little bit later. So the next slide.
oh,
hold on a sec. We're trying to move you so we can actually see you, like your work too.
wait,
I don't know why things are just not, or if it's my screen. The budget, the general recreation budget, the $3,565,000 is broken into these various areas. We have the general services, which is $719,683, which is the kind of an admin. We also have a rec administration, which is $501. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can get a copy of this, or it's in your budget, but it just kind of shows you a breakdown. We're pretty well balanced. The outdoor, cultural, and obviously the volunteers budget is very small, but for the most part, we're pretty well rounded. Next slide. This is the community buildings proposed budget. This was the one that I thought if anybody had any questions, this would probably be the one that it is, even though the combined budget is $1,124,000. The only areas which we take responsibility for is the Lacey Community Center, which was $366,924, and the Jacob Smith House, which is $113,374. The rest of that comprises of, there's the senior centers in there, the museum complex, which is when we're talking about the senior center and the museum complex, it's all the maintenance if there's facility repairs or upgrades that need to be made. So those are all done through the Public Works, but they all do comprise the community buildings budget. We also have the Jacob Smith House facilities and maintenance. The Child Care Center facility maintenance falls under the community buildings fund. When you have a museum building and a museum complex, the difference is the museum complex is actually the depot. So just so you have an understanding of what those all mean. And we have the community center facility maintenance as well as the senior center maintenance. So it's a very large budget, but the parts that we are responsible for budgeting for is actually a very small portion of that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
On the museum, so the museum just moved to the new building. So this maintenance and that kind of stuff is based on the new building, or what are we doing with the old house that was the museum?
It's still going to have program, or Aaron is going to be housed out of that, and it's going to be like a research center, if I'm not correct, Jen. You might want to answer that one.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the Russell House, yeah, so so in the buildings, on this particular slide, you don't see.
You don't see the new building because it wasn't in there yet.
Correct, yeah, so the museum building there is the Russell Building, which is gonna be
Okay.
the research center.
And so where's the funding for the new facilities?
So that's in our recreation budget under museum,
Is
did
it
you already show that one,
complex
Sue?
or?
I think it's coming up, right, Sue?
We already did the museum.
show
We
that
already did that. You can go back a slide and you can show. So the museum is 385,000. So it all's underneath
That's
that.
where it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new lease.
Yeah.
And that's just the lease, not maintenance and that kind of stuff?
That's correct. Maintenance is in the building fund, which was the other one. It's a little confusing because it's multi-departments.
Yeah.
Well, and this one's a proposed, right? So that's going on for next year. That's what
Right,
we-
this is all for next year. This is our
Yeah.
proposed budget for
That's right.
2025. Okay, if we want to pop forward a couple slides.
This is in 2025. Oh, no, the lease is not 385,000.
No, it's in the lead. That's in that whole, it's in that.
The lease is included in that,
Right.
as is the program side and the staffing that goes along with the oversight of the museum.
Okay.
And then
Coming
maintenance
twenty
is in the,
twenty-five, and then maintenance is in the
buildings fund.
buildings fund.
Yes.
Okay, forward,
You want me to go again?
forward one more time.
There.
And this is the proposed budget for the rack. You can see our general services, 293, where rack maintenance is 1.1 million, 990 and 814. So they have a substantially larger budget than we did, but that's the portion that covers if we run tournaments, Sean's salary, all of the different equipment that we need to run the facility, is coming out of the rec general services. Next budget. Next line. This is the revenue, and I kind of just broke it in. I'm not going to go through each of them. If you can always look at it, it just kind of gives you an idea. This is a proposed general revenue. Youth and teen, obviously, and aquatics and physical activities are a huge component in that. Youth and teen is 222,000, and combined, it all balances out. But that's kind of a breakdown of kind of a look at our different revenue for the general recreation side.
So I have another question.
Yes.
Does the school district contribute to the Youth and Teen Enact?
No. Well, rephrase that. Yes, they have. In the last few years, they have given about $45,000 for the playground pals. And we're
But
hoping.
nothing for the Friday night act?
No, they don't contribute anything for the ACT nights.
Really?
We do use their building.
Right,
Yeah,
we use the buildings.
Like.
Could still do an ask.
And so
No.
if we we get revenue from summer lunch, what?
Not the summer, it's the playground pals that goes with the summer lunch program. They help offset the fees for that,
Okay,
which is a free program. So they come in and they do the summer lunch program for the hot meals, and then we do recreation activities all afternoon, and it's free. They do have to register, but it is a free event.
Yeah, so the 7,500 that you see under summer lunch are contributions,
that's
Yes.
contribution. Okay.
donations. Yeah, so
Okay.
these are revenue, whether they're fee-based or
Okay.
donations.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are all of the revenues that we have slated in our budget.
Thank you for
And-
clarifying.
Yeah, and we won't be getting, and maybe Sue, I'm sorry if you already mentioned this, but we won't be getting the contribution from the school district this summer, but staff have applied for funding through the Recreation and Conservation Office. It's called No Child Left Inside. And so we'll find out
This spring.
this spring. if
But
we
the
get-
federal programs don't cover that?
If we get funding.
Like the lunch programs that the school district gets, that they provide at the schools, that doesn't help
The
cover?
lunch, so the school is providing the food
Okay,
portion, yeah. So they do contribute in that way, but they also gave us additional last few years,
Additional
like
money.
Sue said, we had gotten some
Okay.
additional monies that they had available, but
Okay.
they will not have it available moving
This next
forward.
time.
Yeah,
So not only do they get a free hot lunch, they also get a free recreation activities.
there you go.
And the next slide. This is just the revenue, our proposed revenue for the community buildings. Lacey Community Center brings in about $220,000 a year. We're on slate to actually exceed that this year. We have the Jacob Smith House at about 35,000, and I think this year we're probably coming in closer to 50. So, but that is what our proposed budget for revenue is for next year. For the next. And this is a proposed revenue from the RAC. One of the areas, the biggest obviously is the transfers. The transfers, the 109 is the lodging tax funds that we do get. We get money from a utility tax, the 307 fund, and there's a transfer from 001, 003, and 005 fund. That comprises about 521,577. The RAC revenue that Sean's predicting is through event admissions, which is our tournament when we charge a gate. shelters, sports events that take place out there like Skyhawks. If it's happening out at the rack, we take the revenue, but then we also pay the contract, so it's accounted for towards the rack. Any special events, whether it be the Polyfest or fun runs or anything like such as that, field user fees, league fees, concession and banners. That's looking about 532,000 for next year. The PFD, which had normally contribute about 200,000, he has slated for 400,000 for this year. And then obviously the rest is just interest and any earnings. And does anybody have any questions on the type of revenues we're bringing in at the rack?
So I do. The rack is a utility? Is that how we get the tax?
Well, we get money from a utility tax.
So the utility tax against what?
Don't
utility-
ask me. Ask Jen.
Sorry.
That I don't know.
You know, that kind of like.
Yeah, so all the charges for the power, water and sewer at the rack, we get a portion of that? Is
No,
that-
No, it's something supplied to the city.
Like Lacey citizens get we pay.
Right,
as
no,
part of
I
the-
know
Oh, okay.
how utility tax works. I'm just
I'm looking at the
curious
breakdown.
as to how it goes to the rack. Council prerogative.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
And let me look at, I'm looking for how
Budget
much
sheet.
that particular, do you have how much that particular one is, Sue, by chance? Oh, here's the rack one, hold on. Let's see.
Well, just look at that, this Counselor Wheeler, do you have do we have like an expectation of like revenue goals? Like, do we want it like a 5%, 10% increase year over year? Do we look at a model like that, or is it just kind of?
We have been raising it and it have been increasing. We kind of are looking at it as we don't want to price ourselves out of the market. And in some aspects, like with the athletic complex, we're trying to pump up the soccer side a little bit more because obviously the softball, baseball, softball is already completely full. And so we're trying to look at, we don't walk in every year and say, okay, we're automatically gonna do a 5%. We kind of look at where we're at, we look at where everybody else is at and how it came in the year before and try to adjust things accordingly and add some too, especially in the years that we increase our fees.
Okay, thank you.
So it looks like in the 2025 proposed budget, there's $288,577 in that particular line item for utility tax. I would need to actually look up some of the history of how that came to be, to
I
be able
mean,
to answer your
it
question.
makes sense that we get some of that. I mean, it totally makes sense. I was just curious because.
And Jen, what I think it really is, it's more like a credit. So the rack pays its utility bills. The city puts a 6% utility tax on its water, sewer, and power bills. And then instead of it putting that 6% into the general fund, it's just saying, we're going to give that as a credit, I think, back to the rack.
Could be.
Just, where's our finance staff when we need them?
And where is Troy?
So, Yeah,
and this is
we
really-
can get you some information on that.
This is really helpful, Sue. I have a question, this is Commissioner Goodwin. For the last slide that you did, it just kind of came to me. Is there a way for us for next year to have it delineated that what is donated and what is actual revenue that we are generating?
Yeah, if you want to go back to that slide, we can talk about that a little bit.
That would be helpful, just so we know that what's consistent, not consistent on
Sure.
potential.
We're gonna go back to the general revenue. So if you're looking at like the Youth and Teens Enact, all those top ones down are actual, those are money that we are bringing in. Shelters is what money bringing in, outdoor. The summer lunch program and the park contributions in this particular, and those are what we're looking at for that and the special event sponsorships, the 7250. That's money she's bringing in through sponsorships. Jeanette is.
Okay.
And the lunch program and the park contributions, those are donations, sponsorships as well,
Okay, so those, just the summer lunch and the park is donation.
as well as the special events sponsorships, which is the fifth from
Yeah,
the.
and where you'll see these numbers is in the annual report. We do break it out. So this was just with the proposed budget, Sue had the great idea to
I
like
love
show
it.
some
Yeah, this is a much
graphics and
better,
explain it just a little bit more,
easier to absorb for sure.
right? Yeah, cause
I feel like I have more questions because actually, it's more visually.
but that was a point of it, so that we, we can get it so that everybody really understands what we're looking at and what we're doing.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, so we'll jump forward a little bit. One more. These we talked about last time. I just thought I'd throw them in because they are part of our budget request, but these are the ones that were approved pending council approval. Like I said, we kind of talked about those, so I'm not going to go through each of them. You do have a copy of it in your packet, but that was just kind of a list of so we actually, I feel like we got a lot approved so far for us. Whether it be for the rack or for the community parks or for the depot, and the community center's floor is going to be done, and the Jacob Smith's, roof replacement. So pretty happy with what we ended up with this year. And the next. And this was just a real quick comparison of this year to last year. And a lot of it, if you notice, the general recreation is a little bit lower from this year, last year. It kind of all depends on what we're doing, what we're operating. So that's why that's a little bit different. The community buildings, it's quite a bit more than it was last year, but we are also, the roof on the Jacob Smith house, as well as the community center floors, are a huge contributor to why that's higher than it has been. And the rack is up there because we do have some things that we're able to get in the budget that was on the last screen for that, which is part of the reason why that was a little bit higher, as well as we do have, the costs of doing business, like everywhere, is going up. So that is our budget.
So in the
Presentation,
general
yes.
recreation, that isn't a reflection of anything we dropped. It's just
No,
changes or fluctuation in the number of people participating in that kind of stuff, or,
different anticipations, yeah.
okay.
So yeah, but so we're looking pretty good, and we're happy with what we're at and fully staffed. Do we have any other questions at all on any of this? And if you do, I'm more than happy to answer them, or if you think of them later, you can always email me and I can get you the answers. Or Jen can.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you,
You're
Sue. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful.
Thank you for breaking it out.
And I believe this is an action item as well.
It is. All right. So we will need a motion for the 2025 proposed Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation budget.
I will motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Thank you, Commissioner Good. Is there any further discussion about 2025? All right. All those in favor of the 2025 proposed Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation budget, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion, or it carries the 2025 proposed Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation budget. Thank you, Sue. Oh, she's on mute. Okay. Thank you. All right, and now we're moving on to our reports. Are there any reports from the commissioners?
I have one.
Yay, Commissioner Wheeler.
So I spoke to a community member about the pickleball courts at the rack. And they mentioned that the one of their members had got hit by a softball that had cleared the fence. And they were just kind of concerned about that. It was an elderly gal that got hit, and the people involved were not very kind of forthcoming with, like, helping who, they're, regardless of that, they were, requesting, is there, anything in the future that, potentially could, fencing or some sort of netting to prevent that from happening in the future was the request. So just want to report that was concerning, and yeah.
Has that come up before?
We do have a, you'll probably recall this, and I think you mean Rainier Vista, right? I think you said the rack. Did you say the rack?
I was gonna
It's
say.
Rainier Vista.
Rack.
It
Is
was
it
Rainier
Rainier Vista?
Vista.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think when I was talking, okay, yes, it must
Yeah.
have been Rainier Vista, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a grant application in for a project to add the 4 pickleball courts and add fencing,
okay.
netting between the softball field and the pickleball courts.
Okay. good.
We are ranked, we have 2 projects in, and we're waiting to find out if we get funded. So if we get funded,
Foul ball.
Yeah, it was just,
so
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't a league or anything, you know, where it was just a couple guys out there like hitting dingers and they just kind of, they weren't, you know, a lot of softballs are kind of appropriate where they
Yeah.
won't carry as far and they just probably weren't hitting those type of balls and yeah, and when I was
supposed
talking
to.
about the rack, and so I think we had gotten confused about that, so I'm like, I'm trying to, where's the pickleball court's the rack, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It must be Rainier Vista, yeah.
Yeah, so we're hopeful to get funded for that project.
Okay.
If that's the case, you know, we'll be able to complete that project. And we do ask that folks book the softball fields, but sometimes people go out there and
Mhm.
use them,
Mhm.
much like they go out there and let dogs off leash
Yeah.
in that area too, that as we found with our, kind of our,
The dog park.
findings, yeah, but, yeah, so we ask people, you know, obviously not to use that field. We only book youth, and Sue's got her hand up.
Yeah.
On that field, for that purpose.
Just to interject a little bit, I did contact the WCIR insuring faction, and got some ideas for some signage to put up and working with Julie and Derek to try to block off that particular field when it's not being used for, you know, like fast pitch and baseball, so that until we can get something done, we can try to minimize the risk. The problem is the people that come on there when the staff is gone and they're just but we are trying to do and work with WCA for to minimize everything, the potential as much as possible.
And Sue, I know that you've told me in the past that, we only book youth on that particular field.
Yes, there are some overflow tournaments that they have going on there, but when we do that, we notify the pickleball folks and we put up signs for the pickleball folks so that they are aware that there is something that is going on that could be.
So you don't do any adults on the softball fields? in
Well,
Rainier
we,
Vista?
so
Allowed.
what Sue just said is if we book adults on that field, we actually close the
Put 'em on the other
pickleball
one?
courts.
Oh, you
Yeah,
close the
to
pickleball.
put them on the other one, or if it's a tournament, like she said, like an overflow from the.
Cause I see a
rack.
lot of adult teams out there practicing.
They might be.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, they-
I do, I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
I do, but it's serious. I mean, that would have had to have been, I don't know what they were doing to it.
Yeah, and I think there was an understanding from, you know, just from the group, because it was, the gentleman who was talking to me is part of it, was it the South Sound Pickleball Association, yeah, he's part of the association, and, you know, understanding that these three gentlemen that are out there were not, you know, sanctioned in any way, but just, you know, hoping that there was something in the future works of like added protection, just because of something like that happened, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's in the works.
but it's good to know that definitely is something I can report back to him, so
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other commissioners?
Yes, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you guys for that amazing event on Monday. As somebody that was participating with a booth and as, you know, watching my kids run around and have a great time, it was wonderful. I think that a lot of people enjoyed being able to go around and see them individually and be able to take pictures with them. The only thing I saw scary was not attached to you guys. It was the Krampus looking guy, so.
I never saw him.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He had horns. I have a picture. I got a
Yeah.
selfie with
Okay, I
him
didn't know
and
what
he
he
was
was called.
terrifying
Yeah.
children. So that was the only downside and yeah, but it was absolutely amazing and it was great.
Wish I
Thank
could've
you.
gotten a picture with him.
Great work.
Sure to tell Jeanette.
Yes, we will tell Jeanette.
Any other commissioners have anything to report? No?
I do.
All right.
I promise to be a better attendee.
You better, Gary.
Oh, Gary, you're doing great.
So I just have a question on the dog off leash signs.
Mhm.
I don't see them at Rainier Vista anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will look into that. They should be there.
Wonder what we still have ours.
I still see them at Wonderwood, but I haven't seen them the last couple of times I've been through. At least when I go in the main, well, I consider it the main entrance there off of 45th. There's nothing there.
Okay, well, I will.
And I glowered at a guy. that
Well,
didn't pick up after
I don't
he
know that I
stopped.
had any at the main
More
entrance.
power.
I had them in the, I had one kind of by the soccer field, and then I had them by the entrance to, I think I had one by pickleball court.
You see, I go the outer perimeter and I don't go out by the soccer fields. I go around. So coming right into the park, there were signs when we first put them out there, but I didn't see them,
I don't know that I put them out there. I know that I put them by the entrance to the baseball field.
Yeah.
But I'll go.
Well, I haven't, yeah, I can look again too. I haven't been back there for a week or so, 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
But
We have to check
Got a
my
new
map.
sandwich board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is possible that they get vandalized and then maintenance takes them down and
Yeah.
they're not meant to be vandal proof, so I don't know if there's much you can do to clean them, so.
Any other comments for commissioners? Okay, moving on to the chair, that's me. I do appreciate as well, I speak highly of the event. The parade was wonderful. It was nice seeing everyone out there and it was very calm, although it felt hectic for everyone behind the scenes, but it was really nice. And I appreciate all the sponsors that we had. That was really nice, and free cocoa. Commissioner Wheeler got.
4 different kinds.
I know.
It was really good.
It was the hot chocolate it was stellar, and all the donuts, so it was very nice, so. Yeah, and all the lights turned on,
The lights turn on.
all at once. It was amazing.
That was good.
You always hold your breath.
Was that switch actually controlling it? Or was there someone else off on the side that?
Do you guys know?
I think the
Do you
switch
know?
actually controls.
Cause I was so tempted to be like, I wanna flip it back. Like, the intrusive thoughts were
I wanted it
like
at my house.
huge.
They all
Making small
want it once.
children
Huge,
cry.
like, what happens if I just do
Electrician was
that?
standing right by the
No, I
box.
think it's-
So, but maybe that was
I
just
think
in
it's
case something went
Yeah.
wrong, so, okay, we're gonna have to follow up with you.
No, don't let me know if I can.
Task. I'm pretty sure it's a real live switch.
That's great.
You know.
I know, I know.
Christmas magic.
Can't look under everything.
All right, for 7C, our recreation manager.
All right. Well, since we're just finished talking about it, we did have the great event on Monday night. And if you go to the Olympian actually has a really great video that shows it. You got to go to the Olympias and then you scroll down a few pages, and it's got a great video if anybody's interested in going and looking at that. Jeanette also had that Santa serviced or had 368 families that went up and talked with him, so that's quite a few folks. And their impromptu count that they kind of had folks doing, they thought there was around a little over 2,000 people. She is working with the VCB to hopefully get some geofencing on that, but it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. So those are our preliminary numbers, so that's kind of cool. Some of the other great events, we have the Signing Santa coming up this Friday. It's going to at 6 o'clock at Chambers Prairie. And then they do a fantastic breakfast with Santa on December 14th. The Snowball Express winter camps are up and going to be starting to fill. They're doing great. Lacey Youth Basketball is in full swing. It starts in November and ends in early February. And that's a great program for the kids. We did have registration today, and it was a huge success. We brought in over $28,000 in registrations just today before I looked at it right before this meeting. So it'll probably be more before we get through with the day, but that was a huge success. A great appreciation to Liz Carolyn Carter and his group for all of the things that they do to get that going, through whether it be Civic Rec or having to answer phones and help people set up accounts. So greatly appreciated. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you so much, Sue. Thanks to everybody on your team. Yay. Now we're going to 7D, Parks Maintenance Supervisor.
Which is Jamie's, but I'll do it here. So the highlights for Jamie is that they have been working with Lacey Fire Department to they do this every year, but give evening access to Meridian Park, Rainier Vista, and Horizon Point Park. So just keeping the gates unlocked in the evenings, so that the Santa Mobile can go through and hit those areas. And then sounds like everybody was at the Christmas or the light event at Huntemer Park, but you might have seen the Rudolph City Rudolph
Yeah, they're parked next to me.
Yeah, right.
And they
So-
did a Facebook watching them light up do all the maintenance work to build Rudolph. I
Right,
saw the
right.
video.
So Rudolph also follows the Santa Mobile.
Mhm.
So, and that's really great because they just get city staff to volunteer to drive that around, so.
Thanks, city staff.
Yeah. And then Jamie also reported that there's 2 seasonal projects that consume nearly all of their time in November, which are lights and leaves. So, which sounds really funny, but since you all were at the park this week, you saw how many lights it took to get that park lit up, so it's not surprising. And they're really not able to do a whole lot outside of those 2 projects. So they did remove 475 yards of leaves from right of ways and parks. They did Hunter Park lighting. They did the Rudolph Mobile. They removed some hazard street trees at Ruddle and Yelm Highway. They aerated the RAC soccer fields, planted bulbs, and winterized all the drinking fountains and equipment at the parks. That's
It's a time of year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lights and leaves.
Lights and leaves.
And leaves.
Coming up pretty well.
I wish they'd come by my house. Get my lights and leaves. I got so many.
They vacuum, Rainier Vista regularly though. I see them out there daily.
Yes, and they do the sweeping, leaves
Yep,
out of the
no, they-
gutters and stuff.
Cause there's a lot of leaves in Rainier Vista, a lot of leaves.
So beautiful to drive through there though, before they fall.
Oh, isn't it?
It's like my favorite spot in
Gorgeous.
Lacey.
It's
Go.
college too, when you go
And
down to
down-
college with the over.
And down Parkside, the Parkside Street along Park.
Yeah,
It's
they're
just
just gorgeous.
Annual tradition that, doesn't always happen because sometimes it rains too hard when you have the windstorms, but if you go out to, we always call it the fellowship tree, but the off, where they did the Shakespeare in the Park at Wonderwood.
Yeah.
If you get like just the right time of like the helicopters and the wind, like we just play and we try to catch helicopters and try to pick ones that's high up. And I mean, it's just the entire park is just showering them. It's really cool.
It's beautiful.
It's fun.
So 7E, our senior parks planner.
Me again. As you may recall, I've previously shared that we were working to get some concept designs for Hunter Park improvements. And obviously, we just talked about adding it to the accomplishments. So this project is necessary because the climbing structure is out of warranty. The fiberglass is beginning to fail and crack. This project's on our PCIP and it's included in the comprehensive plan. Wendy, you might have remembered this was something that we talked about in our work group. So simultaneously to it being in our, comp plan, the Community and Economic Development Department has been working to rebrand and develop the Lacey Midtown identity. As you may recall, Sarah Schilling came to one of our meetings in March and talked about this. So Hunter Park is really the heart of the district and it's a really important element for their rebranding, as well as obviously the recreation, entertainment and events. So our department is working together with Community and Economic Development to get a concept design that addresses recreation and then the community and economic development needs. So by working with CED and combining efforts, we are able to have a larger funding pool and project scope for this replacement. And it includes more than just the replacement of the climbing structure. CED has some funding designated for the Midtown area to put towards the project. And City Council has shown interest in supporting the project as well. And there's some opportunity for legislative funding. And the project is included in the City Council's legislative agenda with a $200,000 ask that was approved at yesterday's evening council meeting. So
What is CED proposing for the Midtown development and how does that tie to the park? Are they, cause you've got the Lacey Post Office there, you've got, so what are they proposing?
She's gonna show you, you're thinking
Oh,
post
cool.
office, you're thinking of the Depot District.
Yeah, we're in.
So we're,
No, Hunter's isn't that the park?
Huntemer is
Oh, that's
Midtown.
Homan, I'm sorry, I'm.
oh, you're thinking of a
confused.
different park,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
So she's gonna
confused.
show you.
Yeah.
Fred Meyer.
No, that's okay.
Customer here.
Yes.
Yes.
Right here.
Right here.
Holiday lights.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm with the program now.
Santa's floating there
I'm
right
with
now.
the program
Let's
now.
just talk about how many of our parks sound alike. The Rack, Rainier Vista.
Coleman, Hunter.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha. I'm
We have
totally
Woodland
know
and
the
Wonderwood,
building.
which I get stumbled up on.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, exactly.
I'm with you now.
Okay,
I'm with the program.
you're good.
So good.
So, so we worked with a landscape architect to get a design. And this is the concept, design that we have for Huntermer Park. And, so we're excited to share this. Again, we worked with Community and Economic Development. So a few things to note related to this design. It's very preliminary concept design. And it includes some concept photos for the projects related here. But they're concept photos, they're not final selections. The project area focus is obviously this south corner, and this is where the current climbing structure is. The design concept includes a water feature, which is identified right here. And an upgraded plaza area. So this would all be an upgraded area.
Putting trees in?
Some of them are existing trees and some of them, the kind of shadowed ones, these are existing and these ones would be new. And there are some trees there, so some of them will have to be removed in order to do this. So it would be replacing some of the ones that will have
And
to
the
be.
plaza area is where the stage is?
The stage is right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those are
So
the
the left,
big-
okay.
So we're gonna take out more trees.
Plant new ones.
Is this the same one you were talking about,
Plant new
bringing
ones.
more
Well, as I
food
was saying,
and
are
things
you-
like that?
are we
that
gonna
had
end up with the
discussed
same
previously?
amount? Have more or less?
Yes.
I don't
remember
recall.
what it was all trees. Are we gonna have no trees there at all, or are they gonna replant based
These
on?
will all be replanted trees.
Okay,
So there will actually be more trees than there are right now.
cause it gets really hot over there when you're going to those concerts and stuff and the kids are all playing. It gets so hot on that part without any
Right.
coverage.
Yeah.
Cause those
wanna
trees
say-
in front of the stage are really nice when the sun's coming up, at least on our evenings when you're watching the programs.
Right. Yeah, no, the trees, these are existing, these would all be new, which I wanna say that there's maybe 3 trees there now, so it would be more than what they have now, but. So anyways, the water feature is really kind of the central addition to this, which we are excited about, which we think is gonna be really popular in the summer, which is really the highest use of this park, especially when we have events out there. But during the winter months, the plaza area would still be highly usable, because it would be a flat area, so,
Kids could climb on the rocks and, oh, I love that idea.
what we really like about this design and what we tried to be pretty intentional about is that, currently the park in that area, but also kind of everywhere, is that there's kind of vast, open, expansive areas. And this design really allows for some, like smaller, more intimate areas. So this is a seating area. This would be a seating area. And so it creates just some more smaller, intimate spaces for people, which we think would make the park a little bit more usable. and
Seating like-
friendly.
You know, park benches or seating like tables and, like you have tables down in the.
Yeah,
back
so
corner.
these right here are kind of identified by these like movable tables. This here is identified here by a custom like seat bench. And then this seat wall is what you see kind of here.
And then to add on to what Jenny's saying, like from the community development standpoint, there's housing going in around this area. And there's also gonna be a restaurant right there where down in the lower left,
Little tables are.
where the picnic tables are. Yeah, so that's the thing with, it's like your community of people that live, to this point, it's been primarily businesses. But now we're gonna have that mixed use. We're gonna have the commercial and the residential right around there.
That's what I meant earlier.
Oh,
That's
I'm
what-
sorry, yes, yes.
Yeah, 'cause
Now it
like
makes
I
sense.
had posed concerns about like the type of businesses and restaurants because, you know, kind of pushing lower income people out of that area too, that live in the area. That was my previous discussion.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
okay, now I'm
Concern.
tracking, thank you.
Yeah, you remember what I'm
Yes,
talking about, right?
Yes, yes,
No.
yes, I think it was specific, yes, I do recall now, yeah.
So what this does is, you know, when you have housing around, there's gonna be folks who might wanna come out and read a book in the park. I mean, not that people don't do that already, but to this point, it's been like the kind of the lunch crowd from the businesses and obviously our special events that we do draw people.
Is
From
housing
everywhere.
in some of the existing buildings that are there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, and there's new ones going in as well.
Where are they
So,
going in?
I didn't think I don't think we brought that slide with us. I think Sarah showed it in her presentation in March.
So there's a building like right here, this one's gonna be apartment buildings.
I know there's two buildings going in behind,
Ones that are right here are being turned into apartment buildings. This
The
one.
ones on the left of Woodlands Square Loop are apartments.
And where there's a big, closer to College Street,
Yeah.
where there's the more open area, like.
That's gonna
that's
put a
the-
building
Yes.
there,
Yeah,
yeah,
in between the bank and.
Mhm.
yes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so just all that to say, you know, we just think that these spaces where people can sit and also kids can play will be super beneficial. So. And people will still come to visit the park that don't live there or work there. You know, we do, obviously with our events, there's a lot of people that come through this park.
Some other features of the design is the paved plaza paving. So we show it here with just some different color banding that will kind of have an artistic feel to it. And it has like a, you know, arched pattern to it, so just interesting design. The pebble seating, which you can see here, we show it in a few different options, so this could be used obviously in the water feature, in the plaza area, in the lawn area. But the way it's depicted here is in the paving, in the lawn, and it kind of draws people a little bit into the lawn area, but then also around towards the stage. And it's really supposed to be used as, you know, a great option for informal play, seating, and to create that connection to the stage, so.
Do we have data on usage from, you know, the businesses that are around there right now? And then like kids and stuff outside of, you know, summer events and those kind of things? I mean, is there a lot of use during the day of anybody besides the businesses around there? And is it, I guess my second question would be, is it the hope that the people that move into the buildings will become that usage of it? Because right now, you know, I used to work there. I mean, right now, it's heavily business
I don't think.
usage.
We don't have a lot of data on the use. I mean, we have anecdotal data from like
Yeah.
Parks Maintenance, which is, there's a lot of people that bring their dogs there for off leash dog park, which kind of, you know,
Well, on lunch, you know, you grab your
Right.
lunch at Fred Meyer and
Right.
walk across or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But,
We also have rentals, so people will come and use the stage.
Yeah.
Those are mostly on weekends, but there are weekday rentals. It's very affordable if you need to have a function
Right.
to rent the stage.
We used to do our farmer's market there.
Yeah,
They used to
yeah,
have like a little
years ago.
farmer's market day there.
I think that, I mean, definitely the draw to this park from a recreation standpoint is the events.
yeah.
So I would say there's probably not, it's not the, you know,
Put the water feature there, it's gonna get lots of traction.
right, right. So we do see it as a benefit.
For kids that are close
You
by,
know.
I don't know that a lot of people are gonna drive there to use the water feature.
They might.
Well, I
Surprised.
mean, as somebody with small children, I drove into Olympia for a water feature for my kids to play in for the sprinkler parks.
Yeah.
Just because my kids, that's what they wanna do and you can't really go swimming. I live on Long Lake, we have that, but when you get to the algae months of the year, you can't get in there because of the toxic algae and so the kids still wanna play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there was something closer for us, that would have been a good option for me as far as taking my small children.
And I think the idea here is that, you know, there's gonna be restaurants and there's gonna be some, you know, general vibrancy about the whole area. So it won't just be the park, it'll be, you know, more things for folks to do in the area. And I think that the hope too is that, yeah, people who live in these apartments may use it, but I don't think that's the main draw. And then the initial cost estimate, I also put one here that's just a more zoomed in version that doesn't have the concept. Sorry. The cost estimate for this is about $1.6 million. And that includes a 5% escalation. But that also, we need to add additional costs for city engineering, administration, and just ongoing maintenance and operation. So that'll be added once the project actually goes through our city budgeting process. So that hasn't, right now, we've just gotten the numbers, initial cost estimate from the designer. So it hasn't really gone through our official city process, but yeah, so that just wanted to give you an update.
Is this like a phase 1A? Is there any concept for this other side, stage facing side, that for the future?
Good question. Not at this time. We do have phasing. We do have some options. The consultant gave us some options of ways to have reduced costs for this design, because 1.6 million is quite a bit. So there are options that they gave us of things that we could remove to reduce costs if we can't find 1.6 million, which is a real concern. Yeah, I think the reason that the stage or that other side of the park is not a priority or even being discussed right now is because the playground, I mean, it's gotta be
Right.
replaced. I mean, it's cracking, and
Right.
so that has to go. So
Well, just looking at the, the concept of the restaurants, that that was an impactful side
Right.
to the other side. So I didn't know if there was,
right.
I think, I'll chime in, I think there could be some cool stuff that could be done in an additional phase if it weren't for the, $80 million in projects lined up in our
Right.
Parks Capital Improvement Program already. So that's where,
well, fortunately, like this, it's a good set, like it's, it has a small kind of natural amphitheater, like it definitely doesn't need to be improved, so it's good.
yeah, but I think it's a great question, and yeah, there's lots of potential, just balancing, all the projects, so.
Yeah, I did have that thought too, like, oh, couldn't we just do a little bit more, but
Get some developers on board and chipping in.
right.
Well, if it's gonna go through phasing with another group, right? This is phasing in with the city. I mean, how is it going to be planned? Is it going through an MPD, or how are we? Where's the 1.6 gonna come from?
Right. Well, we do need to find the money for it, for sure. Yes.
So is there a partnership with this development of this area that?
I don't think there's a financial partnership at this time. I think we need to come with the concept,
Okay.
and I think we're
Cause I don't know how it works with the businesses, you're putting all of that in, and so do those businesses, are they upkeeping that area after the fact with the tables and chairs and all, or is that city's responsibility?
It's city property.
So if the businesses are.
And
If they wanted to do, if they wanted to talk about some type of a use agreement, like if they wanted to do private rentals or something like that on that patio, then we could definitely talk about it. That's something that would come before.
Yeah.
I like that idea, yeah.
But for funding, the concept is money from parks, money from CED, money from the legislature if successful. And could be potential ask to the developer as well.
Does the state still own a bunch of those buildings, or is CDC own a bunch of those buildings?
Do you recall, there is a state building there?
yeah, I
The
think the one on
UTC,
this
UTC
side,
building?
that one is, I believe, still
The
a state.
UTC's building is a state building, but then the
Yeah.
one that used to be the licensing, is that still a state building? And
That's down
then
further towards college.
the pink flamingos that I call them, the two big ones that are right there on the edge of the park in the center across from Ricardo's. Are those still state buildings? It used to be employment.
those are being
security.
renovated right now, aren't they?
I think those are the ones that are getting turned into.
So
apartment
those were probably CDC owned and the state leased them then.
Cause they were businesses.
And then you have the behavioral health one, which
Yep.
is state owned, right? Or is that county?
Not sure.
I'm not
You're asking
either.
some really great questions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious as the ownership, because again, the development of that whole area is gonna kind of depend upon who owns them and whether we can partner with them.
I know that MJR is doing the building that's directly adjacent to the park. That's the developer for that section. Yeah, and we can find out information. I'm sure CED would know the answers to those right off the top of their head.
And she was here, I remember when she came, but I was more fascinated by what they were trying to do than.
Yeah, but this is the current concept with all the ownership that as it currently exists.
This, okay.
Cause it looks like a good starting off spot, and then once you get, you know, the businesses in there and kind of see what it lines up at. I like it as a first step of just getting us upgraded to where everything's safe for people to use at this point, and then probably have to bring those entities in to see what works and.
Yeah, of course we want to partner. It is city property. Say that too.
Okay, my
Thank you, Jen.
next topic is grants. So it's not exactly a grant, but donations. So we've had about $1,500 in a memorial fund for Jim Sheeler, who was a former Parks Director. He passed away in 2019. So we've had this money in a memorial fund that typically we would use for like a memorial bench. So I reached out to his wife to find out how she'd like to use the funds. And she said, rather than a memorial bench, she said Jim would have loved to see it support children that need financial assistance for recreation programs. So we're working to have the money transferred to our financial assistance
Oh,
fund.
cool.
So just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Thank
Very-
you.
Very sweet. And then at all of our meetings, we're gonna give you the Parks Improvement Funding Work Group update. So our last meeting was November 18th. The work group confirmed that they're recommending a Metropolitan Park District for sustainable park funding. They recommended a levy rate of 45 cents per $1,000 of assessed home value. And that would cost the average homeowner about $225 a year. They're also requesting continued commitment from the general fund towards parks. They're also making a recommendation to reassign some reserve funds and that we continue to pursue sponsorship, donations, and grants. And then they also did a ranking of the Parks Capital Improvement program. So all the projects are listed in order. And so the next meeting is December 9th, and we have a draft recommendation, and that is on our city's public meeting portal webpage. So if you'd like to take a look, that's on there if you want to.
And which meeting is that gonna be at then?
December 9th.
The city council meeting?
Nope, it's the next Parks Improvement.
Yeah, but when is the formal recommendation going to council?
We're not sure yet.
Oh, that was my question.
Yes. We're not entirely sure. We first have to get through them approving
Their
draft recommendation, which, yep, they're reviewing on December 9th. But yeah, it's online if you'd like to take a look at it. And then just another reminder to everybody that we have our joint meeting with the city council on January 28th. So we'll spend about 30 minutes and we just go over our accomplishments and the work plan. So if you'd like to join, that would be great. That's all that I had for my report.
Thank you, Jen.
You're
Yeah.
busy, Jenny.
That's all I got.
I feel like I talked a lot this meeting, sorry.
Jenny, you're so busy.
Doing stuff.
Right.
You had a PowerPoint, come on.
I know.
I know, that's a lot.
I know, there's 2 slides. 2 slides on a PowerPoint.
Thank you, Jenny. And then we'll move on to 7F, the director.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, Rec Phase 3, just wanted to give you all an update and let you know that we do have a wetland delineation happening, and that's gonna let us know exactly how much space there is to work with as you'll recall, it's been a minute since we talked about it, but you'll recall that council did sign that extension for the PFD, Public Facilities District, and that's where the funding will come from for development of Rec Phase 3. So things are starting to get underway. Like I said, we've got wetland delineation happening now, and then there's
The wetlands in the
also
back of the, way back towards the church, is that where the wetlands are? Where are the wetlands?
the wetlands are
I feel like it's.
toward, it's right off of Marvin,
Yeah,
and then it does go along Stillicum a little bit too.
oh,
So
really?
there, and there's oak trees as well,
Yeah.
right in there.
Trees, I
Yeah,
think,
but I wouldn't say it's towards the church.
okay, it's more east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Didn't
bring a visual. to
That's
show
all right.
you, But
That's
we'll,
right, I was
we'll be
trying to figure out,
we'll be
'cause none of
diving
it
into
looks
it.
very
We'll bring
wet,
maps.
but-
We'll bring maps. We'll be bringing maps.
I want to be on the tour.
We
Take
could-
Lloyd on the park tour.
could go on the- could very well go on a tour.
On the back 40.
Yeah, and then, so the other thing that we do have out right now is an RFQ, request for qualifications. And that deadline is December 10th. We're looking for that firm or consultant, landscape architect, that will provide project analysis and pre-design for RAC Phase 3. And so they will be providing, with this scope of work, they'll be providing the concept level work, which is, you just saw concept level for Huntsmer. With an option for continuing all the way to project design and through construction. So, yeah, so that's coming up and that's open on the website now, if anybody's watching and wants to, consultants want to put in for that. Yeah, so that's what's happening with RAC Phase 3. So we'll keep you updated on that. Kind of exciting.
Minor league baseball.
And then I also have a report on Great Cuyo Park Phase 1A. So we are at the 100% design, just putting the very final touches and getting ready to go out. We're actually on schedule to go out to add within the next couple of weeks. If everything stays on track, it'll go out the 11th and the 18th. And so we'll be looking for, obviously, that construction company that would complete the project. So that's pretty exciting. Still on track for breaking ground just as weather permitting in 2025. So most likely March, as early in March as possible. And before that point, just getting everything, all the preliminary items ready for that construction. So super excited. The other thing with Great Cuyo Park is that the city council did dedicate the monument sign as public art. And that was at their November 5th meeting. I don't think I've had a chance to report that back here, so that's kind of exciting as well. The other update I have is regarding the Lacey Museum. So they have started their move to that new location on 6th Ave. We don't have an opening date yet, but I will definitely be sharing that out with you. And then, like we kind of discussed earlier, the current Russell House will be a research center. And so we're very excited to get folks in that are interested in have more of the collections accessible to people with a better setup. So we're very excited about that. And I think the only thing I have left to say is just at the end of another year somehow. I don't know where this year went. I just have an extreme amount of gratitude for this board and just so appreciate your volunteering. We're so grateful for your, contributions and your support. It just means the world to us. I mean, this is our everyday. And yeah, we just really hope that you know how much we appreciate you and your dedication to this awesome parks, culture, and recreation system. I mean, we might be biased, but we feel like we have the best around, best in the state. And so we couldn't do it without you. So just really want to say thank you.
We definitely have the best city parks in Thurston County,
Oh, yeah.
without a question.
Oh, yeah.
Without a question.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Another year.
I can't
Another
believe
year,
it.
Another year, yeah. It went by really fast.
And I have another thank you, just a public thank you to my staff. So I've got Jenny Wilson, our senior parks planner. Thank you so much, just taking on this role and just doing such a great job with it. I want to thank Sue our recreation manager. She has quite a large operation that she oversees and just rely on her every day for all the great stuff that her and her staff are producing, so.
And
um,
Carter made his probation.
And just can't thank Carter enough. Yes, Carter, yes, Carter.
Yeah.
Carter actually, not only that, but is almost a year in January.
Wow.
He will have been here 1 year. Right around the corner, so, yeah, just can't thank Carter enough
Yeah.
for all the support and help, with strategy.
And the transitions through everything when people leaving, coming and going and all the shifts and changes, you managed seamlessly. It was really awesome how fast you stepped in and got everything up and running. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, I mean, we are
We gotta
hopping in parks, aren't we, guys? Like, it's been so busy and so fun. I mean, we love what we do and, but it's just made possible, with staff like Sue, Jenny and Carter. So really appreciate you and all of our department, obviously, all of our department staff. So anyway, I'll stop. I could go on and on.
Oh, thank
But
you.
just appreciate you all.
We thank you for everything you do. I hope everyone has a holiday season that's merry and bright. And you stay warm out there. It is cold, so. yeah, make sure-
chilly
Yes, very, very
and
cold.
foggy.
Yes.
Rudolph is gonna have a hard time if it doesn't clear up.
I think there's like a fog
Have to
advisory.
get
He
the
does have a
GPS.
giant red nose
I
on
have to get the
the
GPS.
Rudolph mobile.
I came from downtown Olympia and it was like a crescent moon, but like, it was just right above the fog line and it was
Oh, that'd be
really,
cool.
as the sun was setting, it was pretty.
Did you get a picture?
Are we ready to adjourn?
It's a mental picture.
Yeah.
We will be adjourning our meeting at 6:41 this evening. Everyone have a wonderful holiday season and be safe out there for your Christmas and New Year enjoyment. Congratulations on another year. Ta-da! Yay!
Another one in the books.